Alrighty, y'all, welcome back to another episode of Navajo TV. I'm your host, James, and today we're going to talk about my new purchase. As y'all can see right there behind me, I purchased another kayak. So today's episode is going to be about what I like about it, what I don't like about it, what is wrong with it, and what I'm going to fix on it, and what I plan to change on it and add to make things a little easier for me. As y'all all know, I lost my hand 7 months ago, so things are a little bit harder for me, a little bit more difficult. Nothing's impossible, just a lot harder. So with that being said, I'm going to transfer the camera onto my hat cam, or my hat that I have, called the Action Hat, that y'all can purchase from their website actually. It's about 40 bucks. Well worth it, especially if you don't like the chest cam angle. I personally don't, because the way I fish now, my hand and everything is just right in front of the camera and there's literally no good angle of it. But that's besides the point. I'm getting off subject. So anyway, I will meet you on the hat cam. Alright y'all, so here's my kayak. It's a FeelFree lure 13.5, 13.5 feet long, 36 inches wide. So like I said, I'm going to go over the things that I like, don't like, as far as the kayak itself, and then I'm going to go over things that need to be fixed, things that things that need to be fixed, something that I've already fixed already, and things that I'm going to change to make this kayak that much more easier for me to use. So we're going to start from the front. You got these big knobby handle up here. Nice and sturdy, easy for me to grab and pick up when I need to walk it back and forth from the garage and the truck. Got this big hatch up here. I probably won't be using this to actually store anything, as I don't bring a lot with me. I know there's tons of people that bring change of clothes, this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. I just don't see the need of bringing a whole bunch of stuff with you just to weigh down the kayak, besides what you actually need. Thinking about possibly putting batteries up here for other uses. It's also got these flat mounting surfaces. You could, possibly mount a GoPro here, or or there, or what have you. Stern light, not stern, with bow. I don't know the terminology. Front light or back light, whatever. You can put it up there. Another cool thing is that FeelFree says this is like a cutting board. I might use it as a cutting board if I, decide to fish on the bottom while I'm out fishing. I doubt I'll be in water deep enough to do that, just depending on where I'm at. I could also probably use this to stand on. I've seen people do it. I'm not that heavy, so it should be fine. Inside, FeelFree claims this to be a ice chest. I don't know how well of an ice chest it would actually be as far as keeping ice cold. It does have a seal on it, so it'll keep things dry. I've seen people use it as a storage compartment. It's probably what I'm going to use it as, considering this is a lot easier to get to than this, and things won't go flying from the front to back of the kayak. So, moving on. You got what FeelFree calls is a sonar pod. What's cool about this is that you mount, I've seen the video on it, you mount the transducer on the back of this, or on, not the back, the bottom of this, and when you put this down there, it sits inside like a little cubby where it's nice and safe, unless you like bottom out the kayak, you won't ruin your transducer. And it even has, the wire, hole right there that you use to run your wire down, and then this little groove right here so that you can run the transducer wire. I believe it's on both sides, yeah. So you can run it on the left or right side, doesn't matter. So that's pretty cool. And then of course this opens up. You put your battery in there for the fish finder, which I have. Oh, someone's calling me. I don't know who that is. So I'm not going to worry about it. If it's important, they'll leave me a message. So anyway, This is the fish finder I have. Not the best. I know it's an older model, but it was free, so can't beat free. So that'll mount like right there, and that'll be my fish finder, so I can find the fishies. It's got these adjustable track mount or adjustable foot pedals, which are cool. FeelFree offers a different version of these where they have a toe adjustment or a toe. What do they call it? Anyway, there's a piece and it swivels, and you can control a rudder system that they have for these kayaks, and that's what generally that it's used for. But I will repurpose it for something else that's in the back of the kayak that we will talk about in a second. It does come with these track mounts. I love that it came with track mounts, really long ones for that matter. Thing is though, these are specialized FeelFree ones. They're not like any other track mounts that you can just go to, like Austin Kayak, AKC, I think it's called, or Fishing Tackle Unlimited or Academy, and just pick up a track mount attachments. You gotta buy the special adapter. FeelFree sells those adapters, but they're like $30, and you only get a couple of them, which I think is really expensive. Found some on Amazon, real cheap, and like 10 of them. So when I get around to it, I'll order those, and I can change all my attachments. Until then, I've actually made my rail blazer. My rail blazer. Is it blazer or blazer? I think it's blazer. Anyway, I've made that work. Just gotta be gentle with it when you're turning it, and it tightens down just fine. So no issues there. This obviously is dirty from being used, which I could care less about. But I guess this is so you have a nice sticky surface to stand up in if it's wet. You're not gonna slip and fall and shit. Then what else? So we got the seat here, which is adjustable. I think they call it a 12-position seat. I sat in it when it was all the way down. I didn't really like the way it felt, so I keep it up like this. I only push it down when I transport it from the garage or from the house to wherever I'm going to fish. Just because that's just more comfortable for me. Got these little side pockets, which are cool. Not sure why I put that on the left-hand side, considering the fact that I can't get to it. So it'll probably be over there later. You got these awesome side handles, which I will probably never use, considering that I'm only 5'6", so me trying to carry a 13.5-foot kayak on its side is not going to happen. I'm not a big person. But they're there, and they're solid, so cool. It came with these bungee paddles, or paddle bungees. I mean, as you can see, these things are worn out from being out in the sun a lot and being used, which is, understandable. Not a big deal, something I can fix. The paddle came with it. By law, if you're out on the water, you gotta have a paddle with you. So I'm probably gonna try to get this separated. I can't just pull it, as y'all know. So I gotta figure something out with that. I'm probably just gonna have the one end of it because I can at least, paddle like this and paddle like that on either end of me and get away with it. I could probably buy a paddle, a one-sided paddle, but why when I can just use this? So the seat's adjustable, so like you just pull that and the seat drops down, and then bam, lift it up. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Now, I'm not sure if the owner I bought it from or the guy before him installed the anchor trolley. I love the anchor trolley. The only problem is that it's on the left-hand side. Y'all, I don't have a left hand. So, and especially being at the highest setting on the seat, I definitely cannot reach that. If it was on the other side, which I'm right-handed, which is awesome because I still have my dominant hand, which is really good in my case. But anyway, I will probably put that over there or buy another one, leave that one there so I don't have any holes, because those are more than likely sealed, and just put it, buy another one and put it on that side. Moving on back, you got the cup holders. Great idea. I just don't like the fact that they're behind you, but whatever. Kayak does come with two flush mount rod holders with rod leashes, which is cool, so you don't lose your rods. It does come with these straps that will strap down your milk crate. I think that's my girlfriend calling me. Yep, I'll call her back. So there's my milk crate. It's got a big tank well back here, which I like. My other kayak, it was actually really small, obviously, because it was a 10-foot kayak. But this is awesome because I can have my milk crate back here, and then, possibly a cooler to keep drinks cold. The Kayak Cart didn't come with the kayak. I bought that, and I wish I'd have spent the extra money to buy a better one, because this cart is terrible for this size of a kayak. But I'm gonna make it work until I spend the extra money. I hear a lot of things about the C-Tug and how great it is. It is a wider kayak cart, which is good because this is it's wide in the back, so that'll help me as far as transportation. Anyone that does own these kayaks, they do know that a lot of FeelFree products come with a wheel back here, which, I mean, is great and all if you're going from a small parking lot from the bed of your truck to the boat launch. That's great. As for me, if the kayak is unbalanced and I'm transporting it from the front, I mean, this is my only grip point. So if the kayak wheel is dead center and this thing starts leaning to one direction, it's not like, oh, let me catch it. So overall, I think it's still a great, decent idea. So you don't wear out the bottom of the hole on the kayak, which is what I did on my previous kayak, and I had to plastic weld it back together. But now we've made it to the best part about this kayak, and the main reason why I bought this kayak is because it has a trolling motor. Now, obviously, the wires are cut right now. No big deal. I did that, and the reason why I did that was because I had originally the control box and all the wiring that came with it. I can't do my quotation. It worked, but something happened. The box got wet, and the actual control no longer worked. But you could take your black and red wire, put them straight to the battery, and you'd be good to go. Which I guess is okay, but there's no on and off switch, and there's no control over it. So the guy said he had ordered a part to replace that, but it wasn't coming until after I had picked it up. I ended up ordering my own and trying to do it myself with the part that he said was on the way, which I did. And this is it right here. Some of you might know what this is. It's called a PWM, or a pulse width modulator. And this thing was pretty cool when I first hooked it up. It did work. You had your forward, off, reverse, and then of course this is also, when this clicks, is off, on. The cool thing about this though is that, let me put this down so I can show you, or so you can at least see it, is that, say up, that's forward, and I turn this, there's a little meter that came with it, I think it's in my toolbox, that would say this went to 25%. So only 25% of the battery is actually being used. Versus how the typical way a trolling motor is hooked up, whereas there's speed coils, or a resistor in this sense. It's a resistor. And what ends up happening is that with those resistors, say, we'll talk about in percentages. So speed 1 sends 100% power to the motor. When it gets to the speed 1 resistor, 80% of that is turned into heat, and then only 20% is turned into power. So you're still using 100% of the power to go slow, which is why I bought this. But the gentleman that built this, which I will leave his link, a link to his YouTube, and a link to his Facebook account, who designed the motor mount, the actuator, and he actually did the design for the original control box that came with this, which I will be replacing or redoing with the stuff down there. I'm still waiting on some parts to come, so that's why I haven't done it. Anyway, this did work when I went and tested it. Though because I dropped from 10 gauge to I think like 16 gauge wire from the battery, so it was 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 16 into the box. These wires started overheating really bad, and they got like really real flimsy, and they started to smoke. But overall it worked. It was great. The kayak worked out well. The motor worked out well. The steering system worked. And then I ended up messing up the control box by hooking it to my battery box, and I think it overpowered it or something. I guess I messed it up. That's all that matters. So, with that being said, I messed it up, and I talked to Kevin, who's the gentleman that built these and everything, and he sent me links to everything that he used to build it, build the control box, the wires, the connectors, the waterproof deals here, what else? The box. The new actuator, which the old one didn't work when I got it, so that was lovely. It was another part that I had to replace. These I bought for another idea that I'm still not sure of if I want to do, to disconnect the battery on quick connect, heat shrink, and some extra 10 gauge wiring, and then some 10 gauge connectors. So like I said, I'm still waiting on some parts so that I can finish all that. But yeah, so that will be fixed soon. But moving on, this hatch, I'm pretty sure, was put in here to help patch the crack that's on the back of this, which I'm not sure how anyone could have done that, considering where it's at. Like whatever, but I went back over it with my plastic welder to kind of smooth out the weld, because you could see it peeling. But I went back over that, kind of smoothed it out, and then I put some silicone sealer I got from Home Depot on the back, on the inside of the crack, that you can access through this back hatch, which I'm pretty sure is why this was put there, so that they could access that. Something I did add was this. This was a workout equipment strap that I cut in half, and then put the bolts that held this down. I put that there so that I could lift the back end of the kayak up, because you obviously can't lift from the center anymore, and I can't just grab it like that to get it evenly. So I needed something that I could ultimately come up, pick the back of the kayak up, and it'd be nice, even, and it's comfortable handle, won't hurt my hand. I did have a piece of rope tied on here, but it always went narrow, and it would allow the kayak to tip. Back to the mount. I had to fix this after I got it and tested it. The reason being is because these two pieces of pipe that are in here, the welds broke loose, and this is aluminum. So when I was talking to Kevin, the gentleman who built this, he said, "Oh, well, you don't need to order a whole new bracket. Just, go get you some aluminum welding rods and weld it back together." I said, okay, so I looked up how to do it. It looked pretty simple. Well, it wasn't as simple as I thought, considering the fact that you have to get these things up to like 700 degrees, and I didn't realize that your typical propane torch will not get that to 700 degrees without sitting there for a considerable amount of time. So I was looking at other videos and I saw one dude, he had put his lawnmower transmission inside on his grill, and used the grill to heat up the whole thing, and then used the torch to assist with heat. So that's what I did, and it worked. So both of these are welded back in place, and now the motor is nice and supported. This is an 8-inch actuator, so I can tilt or trim the motor up and down depending on water level and how fast I really want to go. Which this will be, attached with wires that I have coming with this, and this will all run up there and what have you, which I will demonstrate in another video when I get everything in and talk about that. But that's really it as far as what I like. I didn't like the fact that I had to fix that. I didn't like the fact that I had to replace this. In the video that I got when I was questioning the kayak, all of this worked. Everything worked. The hole was never mentioned, which I was a little upset about. Had I known about the crack, I probably would have paid less for it. And running the numbers, I feel like I paid a little bit too much for this, but it is what it is. I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to make this the best kayak ever. And it's going to be the best kayak ever. So, like I said, I'm going to make the best of it. The kayak also did come with this Minn Kota battery box and two 35 amp hour batteries that were ran in parallel. Which had two cigarette lighters on it, a voltmeter, and a circuit breaker. And the guy that had it before me took all of that out. For the life of me, I don't know why. So two 35 amp hour batteries, which doubles out to 70 amp hours, and should last me, all day. The gentleman that built this said that he runs a 75 amp hour battery and travels like 20 miles in his kayak. Now I don't know how fast he's going. He also travels lakes and rivers. The majority of them being lakes, which don't have a lot of current compared to where I'm going to be fishing at, which is in the bay here in Texas over by Galveston. Not in the Gulf where the boats go, but in the marsh areas. So that's where I'm going to be, and there is some currents there, and when you got strong winds, you're going to be using full battery power just to get out there. But that's pretty much it. Oh, one of the other things I'm going to do as far as an upgrade is I will be getting rid of this rod, which is the steering rod for the trolling motor. Let me go over here real quick. And it's pretty self-explanatory. Push back, it'll turn you to the left. Push forward, turns you to the right. Self-explanatory. What I don't like is that it is on this side, and it takes away my cup holder that is already behind me, and annoying enough as it is. But like I said, one of the things I'm going to do to upgrade that is order the toe attachments that just snap on here, and you use your toes to steer the rudder kit that you can order with this kayak, and it would steer. The lines already ran and everything, so you don't have to worry about that. It's already there. You just got to run the wire. and push it all the way through. And you would just steer with your toes. The pedals, these would stay put, and then the pedal, you would just push like that, and it would steer the rudder. Well, in this case, it'll steer the trolling motor. And then I can get rid of this, and I'll have a cup holder. I can get rid of this. I have more room on my track, and I don't have to worry about something being right here and getting hit. So I can scoot this closer. Besides that, oh, and I will probably order another anchor trolley kit, considering that that's on the left side and I cannot reach it at all. So I'll probably order another one to go over here, since I don't want to undo that one and have holes in the kayak. So I'm pretty sure those are already sealed. So I'd much rather just, rather than pulling those out, filling those holes, and then drilling these out and trying to fill those holes, just leave those alone. So other than that, that's about it. That's my kayak, and y'all stay tuned stay tuned for the next video, where I will be, basically it'll be a bunch of time lapses or what have you of me doing set upgrades, making the control box. There'll be a fish finder install video, and then I think that's it. As far as other things, wiring, what I'm going to do with the batteries, whether I'm going to have them back here where they were, or if I'm going to move them up here, and stuff like that. I do have some paddle clips for this. I need to order another set for my parking pole that I did not get rid of when I got my kayak, because I intended on buying another one. So I kept this. It was $60 for this thing. It's a Kayak Attack one. So 6-foot rod, obviously, because I have to look up at it and I'm not 6 foot, so I'm short. But that's about it. Stay tuned until next time when I do my install video.